This is Bob Maloney from My MMA News, and I am joined by three strong, lovely women today who are all business owners in the field of mixed martial arts. And the reason behind this is, we're all on social media, and, I've seen a lot of my friends who were curious and depressed about the recent, Gabby Petito situation. And I'm not saying that, if she was training in mixed martial arts, that would have saved her life, because we don't know what happened. We may never know what happened. But, I know one thing from following it and talking it to so many, that if you do train in martial arts, you have a better chance of survival in this life, not just mentally but physically. And I just felt like I wanted to do something to promote it for everybody, not just women and children. And I thought there's no better way than to reach out to three women who I respect for not just, they're you all strong and you promote, positivity. And first I want to go around and introduce them before we talk about some things. First, we have one of my favorite fighters in the world to watch is Lisa Edinger. And Lisa is the first and only current Muay Thai professional champion in the state of Pennsylvania. And, I fell in love with watching her fight the first time I saw her at USKA. And she's awesome. And she's ready to open up she's opening up a new gym. She's owned another one. She's opening up Bucksmont MMA Academy very soon. And Lisa, thanks for joining us. How you feeling?
Good. Thanks. Beautiful, Bob. You're my favorite. So I always love to sit down and talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Then we have Sabrina Kelly. Sabrina and her husband, Matt, own the Vault Jiu-Jitsu, where a lot of my friends train. It's really it's a great atmosphere over there, and there's a lot of good people, and it's not just about fighting. Sabrina, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. Thanks to be on the panel with these lovely ladies. It's really a great way to start our Tuesday. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. And last but not least is my girl Aubrey Moser, who will go out of her way and take the shirt off of her back for stray puppies, for anybody in the neighborhood. She's one of the kindest souls we know, but she's also a tough SOB. And Aubrey and her husband, Ben Moser, BMO, my boy, Ben Moser, he's a professional mixed martial artist. And, over the last year or so, they opened Moser's Mat Club, and Aubrey obviously is there working. And Aubrey, great to see you. How you doing, hon?
I'm good, Bob. Thanks for having me. It's awesome being with these other strong, independent women. So thanks for thinking of me.
Absolutely. I was really looking forward to this. I'm excited, and I'm going to start off by asking each of these ladies a question before we get into some roundtable and talk about anything else. First, Lisa, listen, you have had several women's self-defense seminars, and you're obviously take that very important to help other women and protect themselves. Tell me a little bit about how it has helped you, how training and learning Muay Thai has helped you, and tell me a little bit about those seminars that you had. Did you get a lot of interest, and how they went, kind of?
Yeah. So when I first started, I was practically the only female in the gym doing Muay Thai. So it was like super difficult to kind of like get into it and feel comfortable and like want to get hit by a guy. And I've been through like obviously really bad relationships. Everybody kind of like knows that. I'm pretty candid on social media. So I've had really bad relationships where it's helped me to become stronger, and not only in like physically stronger, but also mentally, like have a good mindset going into everything and just feeling confident in myself and the decisions that I'm making and the people that I surround myself with. So I think it's super important for me to do the women's self-defense seminars, because we currently live in the city in Philadelphia, and there's just crime rates are like skyrocketing at this point. And I know a lot of females who have been in similar situations with me with domestic violence and abuse. So they feel super confident coming into a space where it's only females. We're able to talk candidly and show them a couple different techniques that they can use if something does happen, God forbid, again to them. or even just walking in the city, having confidence to just walk down the street and be able to use some techniques that are shown at those self-defense seminars. And we've done them free every time. So it's more so like giving back to the community and making sure that women feel confident in themselves, as well as like confident in discussing any type of matter with not only myself, but some of the other women in the group. So.
Great. Sabrina, the Vault Jiu-Jitsu. One of the things I love that I hear from my friends who train there is positive vibes only. Tell me a little bit about, what jiu-jitsu has meant to you and that positive vibes only, how that came about. I know that I see you training with Matt, your husband, and your children. So tell me a little bit about, jiu-jitsu as it relates to your family and about the positive vibes only that you guys promote at the Vault.
Yeah. So, I didn't start training jiu-jitsu until I was 37. So I just turned 41. So jiu-jitsu is like a recent, thing for me. But when I met my husband, he trained and I didn't really know much about it at all. It wasn't until after I went to his first Fight to Win and I saw two girls who were similarly built to me get up there and they were the first match. And I was like, whoa, like this is amazing. Like I would love to try something like that. I started training and then I grew up in Philadelphia as well. So, it's a tough city. It's a tough city to grow up in. There's, street fights all the time. And it's just a situation where you always want something in your back pocket. And jiu-jitsu really humbles you in the sense that when you think you have something in your back pocket, just in case someone were to, sort of bring something to you that you don't want to deal with, and then you start to learn jiu-jitsu, and it's like, whoa, this is so useful. We wanted our kids to start right away. So, once they were comfortable and they were interested in it, we had them start. Our son and our daughter both do Muay Thai private lessons with Judah Siervo at the Vault. And we train. We have a lot of women that train with us. There's probably like 16 or 17 women right now that we have training with us. Some of them are super high level. Others have just started their journey. But the no negativity really is just the vibe. It's the culture at our gym. There's absolutely no egos. There's no nonsense. You wouldn't know if you walked into those mats, aside from looking at their technique, who the black belts are, who the brown belts are, who the white belts are. At the end of the day, everyone is there really to support one another and to help them get better. We do like a ladies free Friday for the simple fact that I know how hard it is to walk into a gym. I got lucky because my husband trained there, so it wasn't completely raw for me, but walking through the door is the absolute hardest part. And the last thing that we want anybody to feel, but especially women, is that when they walk in, there's this like negative macho vibe that, they can't even get past to try to learn. And that's kind of where the no negativity thing came from, honestly.
Excellent. I love that. Aubrey, listen, Matt's, your husband, Moser's Mat Club, obviously his background is wrestling. I know you guys do everything there, but I wanted to ask you about the wrestling angle because I know a few girls who are wrestling now, and the women's wrestling has really advanced a ton. 10 years ago, there weren't many, young ladies or women involved in wrestling. And I, wasn't very good, but I wrestled in high school, was basically a wrestling dummy, just, a body to get thrown around. But it also, turns men into boys, and I'm sure it turns girls into women. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Have you seen an increase in that? Do you have, girls that come in and are interested in learning wrestling, and how has that gone for you?
So we do have some girls in here and there. We have one little beast girl. She is just an absolute spitfire. Her name's Kylie. She's gone to states in PA, and she's incredible. As you might know, wrestling only became more popular. Well, actually, women were only allowed to wrestle in the Olympics in 2004. So that's incredible. That's like, women are so interesting to watch, and it's just a completely different, we just carry ourselves differently than men, and we just, so it's just really neat to see it growing and to see it coming around, and to see women wanting to defend themselves and wanting to do, my daughter cheerleads, but she also gets on the mats too. So it's a cool balance, I guess you'll say, between the girly and the rough and tough. So we would love to have more women in our wrestling. We have wrestling Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we would absolutely love to have more girls on our mats.
Great, great. Okay, now let's talk about anything we want now. One of the things I wanted to ask you about is, let's get rid of the stereotype of, if you're a parent and, you want to join or you want to take your children in, you're not taking them in there to become a fighter. Every gym, there's only a handful of people that are really fighters. There's so much more to gain than just becoming a fighter. We're talking about things like self-esteem, building relationships as far as, like you were saying, Sabrina, you want good for everybody. Your training partner, you want them to get better as well as yourself. Also, with COVID, one of the things that, we have to concentrate on is, your conditioning and being in good shape is important for your survival, as well as I believe training is therapy for people. Lisa, could you talk a little bit about that? Do you feel that way, that, people who come in, it's, tell me what they gain, what you would tell, like if a parent came in, with their children, what would you tell them about, why should they join a mixed martial arts facility?
Yeah, I think it's like this weird perception of people walk into the gym and they think like, oh, you're going to see like men with just their shirts off, like going nuts, like just beating the crap out of people. But like, it's not like that at all. Everybody is super calm, super mellow. You walk in there and it's so respectful. Like you bow in before every class. It's a sign of respect to not only the coaches, but like each other. You just teach all of the morals that you don't necessarily gain so much at home. I know parents obviously teach it, but it's like in one ear out the other. So when you go to a school, you're like constantly just trying to reinforce all of the morals and all of the different type of boundaries as well. Obviously, you don't take any of the skills that you learn in gym at home and start like beating each other up, beating up your sibling, beating up anybody in a classroom. It's just more so respect and learning how to defend yourself, and it builds up so much self-esteem. Obviously, you feel all these endorphins go, and just you have such a sense of like happiness after a class. Like sometimes you go in, you're like tired, beat up, kids come home from school and they're just like exhausted. They get in there and they feel all the endorphins, they feel the energy of the other kids, and then all of a sudden it's just like a community. They all love each other, they all want to build each other up, they help each other learn. So it's not so much like a scary aspect of like, oh, they're gonna like just beat the crap out of each other. It's like more so learning all of the morals that you would.
Now, Sabrina, jiu-jitsu, a lot of times people fall in love with it and it doesn't become a hobby, it becomes a lifestyle. So tell me a little bit about that, because, I've been involved covering mixed martial arts for well over 15 years now. And that's the one thing I've learned about jiu-jitsu is people, most people don't consider it a hobby. They consider it a lifestyle, and it translates to them eating healthy, protection. Tell me a little bit about that. It's like I said, if somebody's going to bring their kids in, how are you selling your sport and your academy to them?
Yeah, I think jiu-jitsu is sort of a metaphor for life. We talk about this all the time, right? You get put in really difficult positions and you have to figure out how to get out safely. And, honestly, when you train jiu-jitsu and you're on those mats, you're really not capable of thinking about anything else other than jiu-jitsu. You have to be focused. You have to be self-aware. You have to have all of those things. You have to have grit. You have to have determination, right? And all of those things sort of get brought out by being on the mats and by practicing. We have lots of kids, and, a lot of times their parents will come up and they'll say, like he tried out for something at school, he'd never done that before. Like he wasn't even comfortable enough to raise his hand, just seeing that confidence build and grow, because they learn that when they're put in a position, they can do hard things, and it's really, really challenging for kids to get past that. They need that help and that grit, that determination. And that really comes from practicing jiu-jitsu. It's not something that's easy. So I think part of the allure and part of what makes it so addicting, and just like other martial arts, you don't have the opportunity to walk in on day one and be like, okay, I know everything, I can go now. You know, this is easy, this is simple. Every time you grow and you go throughout your jiu-jitsu journey, you continue to learn. So I think especially for kids, there's no real other way. Like Lisa said, you know, you're taking everything that you're learning in life and you have to use that on the jiu-jitsu mats. You have to be respectful. You have to use boundaries. You have to be kind to your partner. You have to be a good partner. You know, you have to practice safely. And it just gives kids in the right hands, it gives kids an opportunity to learn who they are too, because I mean, you guys all know, like, who you see on the mats is usually who someone is deep down inside, right? Like the personality that you see when they're on the mats, that's who they really are. So giving people that opportunity to shine and flourish and learn about themselves, I think, is the greatest gift jiu-jitsu has to offer. And it also helps that you have something in your back pocket should you in case need it at the wrong time, you know?
Great. Aubrey, now, listen, I love all sports, and I know you love a lot of other sports too. I mean, when you're a parent and you have kids, I mean, there's soccer, there's baseball. I know your daughter's involved in cheerleading, volleyball. There's so many sports. Tell me your take on that as far as, you know, a parent is going around, they're trying different things. You know, they come in, tell them, you know, I'm a parent. Tell me why it's important, why you think, you know, my kid will benefit from coming in and taking some wrestling classes and learning about, you know, mixed martial arts.
So we're just growing up. We have kids growing up in this totally different world from where we grew up. I mean, yeah, we were all kind of picked on and stuff like that, but were you bullied to the point of like coming home with bruises or, you know, having to, you know, as a parent, go into the school and figure out, okay, hey, I need to watch the video from the school bus. Somebody's picking on my kid. They're coming home with bruises. You know, they don't want to go to school. I got to get to the bottom of this. So it's kind of one of those things for me, trying to explain to parents that it is so good to, yeah, you don't want your kid to go like just straight up and sock the bully. You know what I mean? You're not trying to, you know, have a kid fight club here. But you want your child to feel confident going to school. You don't want them to get on the bus and be terrified because they don't know, you know, if they're a third grader and this fifth grader in the back of the bus is bullying them. You know, you want them to have that confidence to stand up and say, hey, like, you know, leave me alone. So with that, you know, we always tell parents like, hey, this, you know, aside from if talking doesn't work, aside from if the school isn't willing to intervene, it is good for your children to know how to fight back and how to, I mean, even if they're put in an adult situation, because I mean, that is becoming more and more prevalent and the world is becoming a crazier and crazier place by the day. You know, it's great for children to know how to defend themselves. It's great for them to have that self-discipline where they could just go sock that bully, but they're not going to because they know that they need to try and de-escalate it in other ways first. You know, we're not teaching our children, hey, go fight that kid. You know, it's more of a, hey, you have the tools should you need them. Like Sabrina said, you know, it's in your back pocket if you're in a bad situation. You know, other sports are great. Don't get me wrong. My daughter cheers. She's very interested in playing volleyball. I played soccer. I was a gymnast. But there's just a different discipline to martial arts and any martial art too. It's not just jujitsu, not just wrestling. You just get that different skill set, that different mindset, where, like they said, you have to be calm getting on the mats. You can't, once you start messing up, if you're in a jiu-jitsu match, once you start getting angry and getting frustrated, that's when you make mistakes. That's when, you know, your partner has already won. If you're losing in your mind, you're losing on the mats. So you have to keep that tough, that calm, that balance, so that, you know, and that's so important for our kids to know, especially with all of the craziness we have going on. And it's just such a good gift to give to your children, is the self-discipline, the self-defense.
Absolutely. And listen, let's face it too. It's not just about women and children. It's about men too. And it's about, you know, that healthy lifestyle. I wish I knew long ago about, eating healthy. Your lungs and your heart are such important muscles, as well as your brain. And I think stimulating all of them is the key to success, to living a longer, healthier life. And that should be our goal. We should be trying to help the youth. We should be trying to help women, even men. Everybody needs, I'm not saying that some men don't need to be protected, because we've all seen it out there. We've seen the bullies. We've seen the negativity. We're seeing it on social media, bullying. We're seeing it every place. So I've had so much fun talking to you three ladies. I really appreciate you ladies giving me some of your time. Like I said, all three of these ladies are active in their own facility. Lisa, we'll go to Aubrey first to close it out. Aubrey, anything you want to say? Any thank yous before we go? Once again, always great to see you. I know I see you at the fights all the time.
It's not enough, Bob. I'd love to see you more than just fights. and your lovely wife as well. I haven't seen her in a while.
She loves you too.
We love her. I'd like to say thank you to all of the people that come into our gym. The people who are terrified to step on the mats, who are now being promoted, from white belts to blue belts. The people who are the only people that we have signing up for a jiu-jitsu tournament. They just go out on a whim and they're like, hey, I signed up for that tournament that's coming up. And we're like, wow, that's so cool. So just shout out to them. Shout out to George and Brandy Savage. They own the Union House, which is the restaurant across the street from the gym. We wouldn't be where we are today without them and their encouragement and their belief in us. They just have believed in us more than anybody else, and we really owe them a lot. A shout out to First Form, because their supplements and their business practice and what they stand for is incredible. All of the supplements that we use in our gym, we now have most of the gym is now using them. Just incredible to see them becoming healthier and getting the proper nutrients and everything they need. And then shout out to my husband for just being an absolute incredible guy. He is the best balance of a fun dad, a tough dad, a strict dad, and just the hardest worker you'll ever meet, with the biggest heart too. And thank you for choosing us to really talk about this subject, and thanks for thinking of us.
Will you give BMO a big kiss for me, and you make sure it's a big wet one, and you tell him it's from me, and I can't wait to see him. You know that I love you guys. I don't look at you and Ben as, a fighter and his wife. I look at you two as lifelong friends, and that's one of the things I love about these sports, because you build such great bonds, and I love both of you guys, and it was a pleasure having you.
Absolutely.
Sabrina, once again, I love that you keep promoting the positivity, and every time I see somebody post about the Vault Jiu-Jitsu, it's nothing but great things. I want to come over there and visit you guys and do an interview there, get you some media. Your turn, give out some love or some shout outs, because I know that you've had a ton of help, because you can't get to this point in your career without it. So it's all yours.
Yeah, honestly, it's a situation where really the only people to thank are the people who built that space, right? So at the end of the day, like, everybody who's walked through those doors has contributed in some way, and given back in some way. It's really become like a family. Julian Banner is one of our head instructors. Judah Siervo teaches our Muay Thai program. Jess Bermudez Feliciano teaches over there. Charlie Livingston teaches there. We just have like such a wide variety of people that have all different backgrounds, both in mixed martial arts, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, and it's just created such a beautiful community. Like Aubrey said, I'm lucky enough that I have an amazing husband as well, and he's really like, honestly, if anybody is ever negative around my husband for like a half a second, once they talk to him, they're going to turn that around real quick. He's like the most positive person I've ever met in my life. And there's not a situation that he won't figure out how to get out of in a positive way, while also helping everybody else. So it's just been like a great experience. We started in the middle of COVID, and it's just really blown up and taken off. And I have no one else to thank but all of the members and all of the people that have walked through those doors in the last year.
Great. I look forward to meeting you and Matt sometime soon.
Definitely.
I'm going to come in and I'm make sure I have my positive, vibes because I don't want to get choked out.
We'll get you a shirt. We have lots of shirts that say no negativity. We'll make sure we have one for you.
I love it. I love it. And last but certainly not least, I always have to make the mistake when I'm talking to Lisa not to say Lisa Lynn, because that's her, that's her Facebook name, Lisa Edinger. I've always had a soft spot because I've always been a fan. You're such a great person. And like I said, you share a lot of stuff on social media of your of real stuff, not just fake stuff. And that's one of the reasons that, I admire you so much. Please give some shout outs or some love, because we all have people in our life that, we owe gratitude to. So the time is yours.
I just want to thank all of my former students who I opened the gym with Derek Kenny. And now they're still there. Obviously, they're flourishing. So I just want to thank all of them, obviously, for being a part of it and making sure that there was like a strong women presence in the gym. So I hope that continues and they're there to help out the next community of women that come in as well. Obviously, Crew Eric Garner, I always thank him just for giving me the opportunity for Muay Thai that so many people have never had before. And he still continues to develop all these students and develop all these amazing fighters. And he doesn't get credit where credit's due. And he's definitely somebody that needs to be spotlight a lot more than he is. And he's helped me trying to make this business work, just making sure that I'm successful in anything that I want to do. So I thank Eric Garner for that. Obviously Trent Stump, he's not my husband, but he's my boyfriend and I always thank him. He helps me with all the women's self-defense seminars. He's just always there making sure that if I need a good workout, if I need anything, just to bounce ideas off of him with gym type of stuff, that he's always there. And I just make sure that, it's a good partnership because he's been through a lot with me as well. So
nice.
Trent's a great doggy daddy too. I love you guys and love the next to your dog. And ladies, this was so fun. I really appreciate, like I said, you giving me time. I think promoting the sports. I couldn't have three better examples of strong, powerful, and good people, not just women. And it was a pleasure talking to you. And Lisa, best of luck with your new place opening. Aubrey, I know you're kicking ass over there. And Sabrina, like I said, the positive vibes. Thanks again, ladies. I hope you have a fabulous day. And it was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, nice meeting you, ladies.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Bye.